Hi everyone, welcome back to Creatively Crafted Life. This is Melanie and this is another installment in Use Your Collections. And it's a bit of a repeat in the sense of I'm going to use my collections to make some more month in review pages. And this year we're going back to 2019, or this time we're going back to 2019. And I'm going to be using the Pinkfresh Let Your Heart Decide collection. I've got quite a few layers of cardstock here, so I think that will work. Plus I have a ton of embellishments, so we're going to try and use up a bunch of this. And I also have a 6x6 paper pad. So the layout that I am going to be focusing on this time is from Page Maps, and it's a little bit simpler than the other one, less layers I think. So for those of you that haven't seen the video that I did before this month in review, the idea behind it is that you pick a particular sketch and you use it to create 12 layouts that you'll use throughout the entire year. So roughly the same layout, but you use different combinations of cardstock. And normally you would do it in the year of, so like the one I just finished was for 2020, and so that at the end of each month or end of each quarter or however you decide, you print your photos, you plop them in, add your journaling, and you're done. The main work's already done, like all the creative work is done before that. But I do want to go back and do this for 2019. I don't want to do it for 2018 because I have a different process for month in review that I've already started. That one's more of a hybrid kind of situation, and I do need to finish that. But seeing as I'm on a roll and I want to use up some of my collections and free up some of the room in my closet, this is what I'm going to focus on. So the first step that I'm going to do is kind of figure out what patterns I want to use for what layers. And then I'm going to mass produce this, so mass cut everything, mass assemble everything, and go from there. I heard about this from Janet over at RTS Scrapbooking. She has a video about month in review, how she does it. She has since moved to Patreon. I think she only charges $1 a month, which is phenomenal. She puts out a lot of content, so it's well worth it. But she goes through it quite in depth over there in Patreon, how she does it. She's way more organized than I am. She plans it all out, figures everything out. I'm a little bit more fly by the seat of my pants and make it work. So anyways, what I'm going to show you here is I'm going to configure all of this off camera and cut everything, and then I'll show you the pieces that I have, and then I'll put it together and then show you again. And then once all that's done, because 2019's finished, I'll go print photos, do my journaling, assemble everything, and then show you the final results. Okay, so let me get started. Okay, so this is my Craftermath. I have a whole pile of scraps, and I probably only have about 2 or 3 full 12 by 12 sheets of paper, so I'm thrilled that I am working through this collection. You'll notice I did bring in some solid cardstock. I like having the contrast, and I think it'll just give the eye a little bit of a resting place from all the patterns, but you know, I didn't actually do a mock-up, so we'll see. Hopefully I didn't waste a whole bunch of paper. So I have everything cut out. So these are all the solid cardstock pieces that I'm going to need, and these are all the pattern pieces. Now I just need to align everything, match it all up as to what I want on which page, and then I can start assembling. So that's the next step. This is roughly what the design is going to look like. I just use this as a placeholder because this empty spot here will be covered with a photo. So there's going to be 5 photos. This is a 3.75 by 4, a 4 by 6, a 3.25 by 4, and then 2, 3.5 by 5.5 photos. And then I need to put embellishment with the title up here, which will be the day of the month, and embellishment down here. This is where the journaling is going to go. And in the original sketch, it has these scallop circles underneath here, and I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet. So I'm still thinking about that. I should be able to slide it underneath whatever I come up with. So I'm going to lay the rest of the pages out, and then I will come back and show you what I decide to do for the embellishments. Okay, so I thought before I finished up here, I only have a couple layouts left to do of my base pages. I just thought I'd show you how quickly this comes together. So what I do is I flip everything over and I affix glue to everything all in one shot. Except for the scallop pieces. Okay, just so I can stay in frame. And I try not to go to the edge, just in case I want to tuck stuff in, and I can always go back afterwards and add a little bit of liquid glue if I need to, right? So just something to keep in mind. And the other thing, I do use a ruler. You could create like a jig or something if you want to call it that, like a template or something that will have the measurements up, you know, preset for you. But for me, it's just as easy to use a ruler. And again, you don't have to. If you don't mind eyeballing things, you could do that as well. So I start with this large piece first. And let me just move these out of the way. I need a little bit more room. You know, I cleared my desk off and it's still full of stuff. So I know that this piece here is going to be 1.5 inches from the bottom. I'm just using my quilting ruler. And I just line that up. Lay that down. Okay, then I'm going to take my thin pattern piece, and that's going to be affixed right there. Make sure it's the right one. And I'm taking my 2-inch piece, and this one is 6 inches from the top. And again, because you're doing this 12 times, you kind of have everything memorized and it goes pretty quick. So then I flip over and bring in my second 12 by 12 sheet. And I line this up. And then I take the 2 extra pieces that I have here, and I'm just going to align that at the top. Now, if I had more paper, I would have just cut this as a 9 by 9.5 inch square strip, but I wasn't going to have enough paper, so I was a little bit more frugal than I thought I would have to be, and ended up trimming out these small pieces to make it work. Now, as far as the dimensions go, in case you are interested, this piece here is 9.5 by 9.5 inches. And like I said, it's 1.5 inches from the bottom. These two pieces are 2 inches by 9 inches. And I'm just using a T-square ruler to make sure that they are straight. This is 2 inches by 9.5, and this is 1.5 inches. I think that's 1.5 inches. Yeah, 1.5 by 9.5. Okay, so that's those two. Then I found the next easiest is to add this little 2x4 piece on. And again, you still want to be aligned. And I don't worry if it's off a little bit, because this is going to go in a D-ring binder and they don't meet up anyway, so it's not the end of the world if it's a little bit off. But I do try that there. Again, just using my T-square ruler to make sure it's reasonably straight, which it is. And then I take my 2x4 piece. This is for my journaling. Fix that underneath. Just line that up with the edge. And then I've been outlining all my layers. a lot of these are really light, and I just like that look of, you know, kind of finishing it off. So you could use a ruler for this. I don't. I actually like messy borders. I just think it gives it a little bit more character and kind of casualizes it down. And it goes way quicker. And if I mess up, I just, you know, add a little scribbles and stuff on it and make it look like, you know, faux stitching or something. That's what I tell myself. Okay. And then on this paper, so if you watched my other series or my other episode with month in review, I machine stitched on all the layers, and that took a lot of time. So definitely doing just like a doodly border or a line around the paper is much, much faster than stitching. Obviously, you can see this is only taking me a couple minutes to do. And just like that, that is done. Now the trickiest part of all of this, surprisingly, is adding these little borders in. And what I did to make these borders is I cut a 1 inch by 9.5, as well as a 1 inch by 9 inch. And then I used this Stampin' Up! Scallop punch to make these. And this is one of the reasons why I don't like to go with the glue all the way to the edge, just so I can tuck stuff underneath. Now the trickiest part, again, you could take out a ruler for this, but I am just eyeballing it. I find it helpful if I flip it upside down, so it's a little closer to me. Line this back up, and then I just kind of tweak this a little bit until I think it looks reasonably straight. Again, I'm not worried too much about it. Could drive yourself crazy. Okay, this one can go down a little bit. And sometimes I still manage to put a little bit of glue too close, which, you know, you just have to pick it up and move it down. Okay, how does that look? Okay, and then what I do to secure it is I take my Scotch Quick Dry, I put it in a fine liner bottle, and then I just take a little bit and just kind of press that down, and then I do a little bit on this corner just to kind of tack it in place so that it doesn't shift, because that's what I find has been happening, is it's been shifting with me when I try to run a full bead of glue all the way down. So by tacking it down, it seems to help keep it from shifting around. And this glue dries really quick once you kind of press down on it. Hence the quick dry. So let that dry, and then I just take this thing, I just take this glue and I just literally put a bead of it underneath. Okay, so the only thing I have left to do is affix this matte piece on here. Okay, so we want this to be 1 inch from the edge, like so. It's roughly 2.5 inches from the bottom, but sometimes my cutting, I guess, has been a little bit off. So I just make sure that I have enough covering this this seam here, so I've got enough overlap. Like so. That is our layout for now. So there's going to be 2 photos here, a photo here, another photo, and another photo there. So 5 photos total. This is where journaling is going. And then obviously we need to do some embellishments along here, the title, and some embellishments over here. So that will be the next step once I get these all done. Okay, so I decided to add some white matting down. I do like the look of matted photos, so I measured that out so that the photos will fit with a 1/4" border. These two will be butt together in the middle, so it'll just be a white border around, and then the same goes for this. If I did my math correctly, there should just be a white border on the 3 edges. So now at this point, the next step I'm going to do is add the month onto the pages. And I am opting to use the puffy stickers that came with the collection. I have 4 sets of these. I know it seems a little ridiculous. I have bought a few boxes, mystery boxes from Pinkfresh, and that's how come I ended up with so many. But I love the collection, so it's going to work out well. Normally, I would say with stickers, you would blow through these really quick and probably run out of letters if you had to spell out the full month for every calendar month. But because I have 4, I think I should have plenty. So this month here is going to be June, and the sketch actually called for the title to go up in this corner, but because a lot of the months are longer, it wouldn't really work there. So I did debate putting it down on this stretch here, but I think I like it best on this band. So what I'm doing, or what I'm going to do, is just move that out of the way. I'm going to use my T-square ruler and then just kind of eyeball it, you know, maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch from the end. And then I'm just randomly picking colors. I'm trying not to do 2 of the same colors next to each other, but that's about all the planning that is going into this. And hopefully at the end, like I said, I won't run out with too many colors that are the same. And we're just going to spell the month of June. Oops. Now I may need to go back and glue these down. They are holding okay, but they're not like the super sticky, so who knows. And just like that. So I'm going to go and do this for the rest of the months and get this done, and then I'll come back with what I'm going to do next. Okay, so if we look at the sketch, you'll see that there is a cluster here with the banners and some tickets, and I'm just going to modify that slightly. So I made some banners out of scrap pieces of paper, which I am just going to add a little bit of liquid glue, tuck that underneath like so. And then I have these layered stickers that I've been using, but to cut down on some of the bulk, I'm actually just removing the foam adhesive on the back because this is all going to stack on top of each other, and they're not exactly the same, but there's still going to be quite a bit of bulk in the one area. So I want to minimize that as much as possible. The little bit that's left between these 2 layers, I'm not so worried about. So I'm just going to do that. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of glue at the bottom, not all the way at the top, because this is going to overlap the photo. And I want to be able to tuck photos in at some point. So that's going to go there. And then using these, what are these? Cardstock stickers. I'm just going to pull a label off of that. And that is just going to overlap this junction or this corner here, like so. And then I'm using these epoxy heart stickers. Now, I was a little disappointed that these had faded quite a bit or had yellowed, but because there's so much yellow in here, I'm okay with using it, but that is a little bit disappointing. So I guess it's something we just have to be careful or cognizant of. So this is a little bit smaller than some of the other ones. So what I thought I would do is add that one there and then maybe one of these smaller ones down like that. And that is basically one of the clusters. This is another one that I did using those layered stickers. So they're all a little bit different, but kind of the same. So I'm going to do that on all 12 months. Okay, I'm going to show you the other clusters that I did, and I ended up talking to a friend for a couple hours and just kept working on this, so I didn't get to record anything. So I'll just show you the basic idea of what I did up here in the corner. I just punched out a 2-inch circle from scraps of cardstock that I had. This is a 1 3/8 white circle, and then whatever circular item I had in embellishments, I fixed that, and then a puffy sticker. Generally speaking, not all months are exactly the same. Down here is where my, what do you call it, my journaling is supposed to go. And so I added a little sticker that kind of referenced that. So this one says today's narrative. This one says in this moment. I love a good story, so you get the general idea. Not all of them have circles because I didn't have enough circular elements, so I just took something big and some sort of embellishment to finish that up. And then over on the right hand side down at the bottom, I added another strip of paper. It did not have to necessarily coordinate with anything because it's all from the same collection. I used a ticket punch to cut from the solid scraps that I had, and then I just added, in most cases, another one of the epoxy hearts and then some other little embellishment to finish that up. So let me show you a couple here. Same idea. Same idea. So now the next step is to add all the photos and journaling. So I have everything printed out. I do need to trim everything and start assembling. And once that's done, I'll do a complete flip through of all my completed pages. As always, when I start working, my desk ends up being, I only have like this much workable space. Literally every inch is covered. And my desk is pretty big. It's 3 by 5. And I'm stuck with a 12 by 24 inch space. Okay. Anyways, after this project's done, I am going to clean this desk up. So I'm just going to walk you through the layouts that I've put together. Basically, my year is done as far as month in review goes. Now, obviously, I have other layouts I want to do to tell the stories a little bit in more depth. And what I'm going to do with those is just intermix them in the same album as I get them done. But basically, you know, I've kind of represented my 2019 year. I need to do a cover page, and I probably have some mementos or memorabilia that I may want to tuck in at the end. I haven't quite decided that yet because I have to go through all my memorabilia. If you're interested in hearing how I store that and how I organize it, leave a comment below because maybe I'll do a video on that. Okay, so again, same layout, roughly. Embellishment clusters are going to look a little bit different. The colors, patterns, etc. are going to look different, but it's the exact same layout. I ran into a couple issues. One, I incorrectly measured this white piece of paper. It was a little too wide on this end, and I could have tried to rip this off and trim it. I was not going to reprint photos, and I just opted to leave it as is and use it to add a little bit more embellishment. So that's where the washi tape came in, and then I added the washi tape in a few other places just to kind of tie it in, and I used the same washi tape across all layouts. And then I just went back through my epoxy stickers, leather stickers, and used up as much of them as I could. So I don't really have a visual triangle per se going on. It's more a visual rectangle. But that's okay. It's all good. So this is my January layout. That will be February. This is March. It's kind of funny. I just have something to talk about here quickly. I didn't plan out my photos to the layouts or any of that kind of stuff. It literally was lay out the 12 pages, sort them, you know, kind of stagger the solid cardstock so that they're not like, I don't have two yellows next to each other. But it is rather funny how often the colors from the photos are picked up in the pages. So like for instance here has this reddy, terracotta reddy color, and that's present everywhere. This kind of, it's actually technically like a black, but in the photo it looks more like this blue, and it's distress. It just all kind of works out. It's kind of funny how that happens. Anyway, so that is April. Here is May. Here is June. Here's another example, like the yellow with the yellow, like it just ended up being that way. It's pretty funny. July. August. I have some personal information in here, so I'm just blocking that out. Here's another one. I did not use green very often, and it just worked out the one day that I, you know, kind of highlighted the green a little bit. My nephew is wearing his green shirt. That's kind of funny. That's August. September. October. November. And finally, December. So that is my 2019 month in review. Let me just pull out all the supplies I have left and show you basically what I have left. Okay, so let me just do a quick wrap up of what I had left of my supplies from this particular collection. I had a few little, you know, odds and ends and scraps and stuff like that, which I will be recycling. And I used up everything else as far as paper goes in making some page bases as well as some card bases. So I'll show you those in a minute. So surprisingly, I thought I was going to go through way more alphabet letters than I actually did. So I have 2 full packs still, and I didn't even use up all the vowels on one complete set. I did have to go into a second one, but only slightly, so that was quite a surprise. I'm going to put these with the page bases that I'm going to show you here shortly. These are not from the same collection. This is from the BU collection, so they should not even go in here. So then I have the wood veneer, or wood veneer stickers. I'm going to keep those with that as well. I've got some frames. I have some of these different stickers. I think they were probably meant to be planner stickers, but I'm just going to throw these in my sticker book. And then I have some smaller alphas, which I will also keep over here, as well as the ephemera. You'll see in here that there's more pieces than what's in the original ephemera, and that's some of the stickers from this collection, or from this pack. The thing fell apart, so I guess when they cut them, they cut through the backing paper, so it started to fall apart, so I just broke them up and stuck them in the ephemera pack. I've got, from the layered stickers, I have, looks like almost 2 full sheets, not quite 2 plus a little bit. And then I've got from the puffy stickers, half of one and almost one of the other. So I still have quite a few embellishments, which is not a bad thing. Okay, as far as card bases and stuff, I had some Hero Art card bases in yellow and turquoise that I thought would make fun bases for this paper. And I literally just took some of my scraps and just laid them out, so that now all I have to do is come up with a focal point and maybe a sentiment, and these cards will be done. So it can be just as simple as a strip of paper, to like the first one here where I added actually a piece of washi tape. So that is those. And then these are some base pages. I just took the scraps I had, laid them out in a somewhat generic pattern, so that then I can come in and figure out what photo configuration I want. I would envision a title or something up here, and then, you know, a photo collage of some sort. This one was a little more specific. I actually left a spot for a 5x7 photo, which is here. The title, I'm not sure where I would end up putting it, maybe along here, or I could always add another layer further down. But so it's still somewhat generic. Like I said, this was 5x7. If I needed to split this into 4, I could, and still have decent sized photos. And this one here is, in the words of Janet from RTS, a happy horizontal. So I just took 2 large, roughly 6-inch sheets or scraps, and then added a band across. And then I just matted this, and then I have enough space for 2 4x6 photos, and probably would put my title and some journaling down here. So these are going to go in with my base pages. These will go in with my card bases. Okay, so as far as these base pages go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 1 sticker sheet. These 3 will go in with my sticker collection. I'm going to put in one of each of these, and these will also go in with my sticker collection. The frames I will leave. I only have 3 frames left in there. I will also put the wood veneer because I'd like to use that up. I will leave this one in just in case I can use it. And then I'm just thinking, do I want to leave the ephemera puffy? What do I want to do? I'd throw those in there and those, and then these I will put elsewhere. So this will go in with my kits, I guess, and I will probably put these in a bag because I've got a few pieces. Okay, so that is how I'm going to clean up after myself. Well, at least as far as this kit is concerned. Now I got to clean up my desk. Thank you so much for joining me, and until next time, happy crafting.